Hello, and welcome to Art Minutes. I'm Patricia Tomlinson, curator at the Appleton Museum of Art. Today, I wanted to introduce you to a really spectacular piece. Actually, it's a set of pieces by Eutrope Bouret, very famous French sculptor of the 19th century. And what this is it's a functional item, although you'd hardly know that to look at this. It is actually a clock. However, it has a sculptural portrait of the very famous 19th century actress Sarah Bernhardt and two ewers on either side of it, which are referred to as Casualette. I'll talk more about the figure and the ewers in a minute, but first I wanted to sort of set the stage for gilding and the elaborateness of this grouping of objects that were made to go together. During the 19th century is really when we see the Industrial Revolution come into its own. A lot of people who never had access to making fortunes now are doing so through factories, the burgeoning railroad industry. So people who have never before had access to great wealth are now amassing it through these industries. And they really want to show it off. They want to purchase elaborate settings like this so they can show their good taste, their cosmopolitanism, and have these as really centerpieces of their home to impress anybody that might come over and see them. Now, these three pieces are gilding, and what that means is underneath this skin of gold is bronze. And gilding metal can be done in several ways. One of the more dangerous ways, unfortunately, is using mercury. There is also gilding by electrolysis, gilding paste. So there are several ways to get this gold powder attached to the metal. And of course, gilding also shows the fact that you have quite a bit of money because it is expensive. Now let's look at the Casualette in a little more detail. The French word Casualette actually has two meanings. One is a container or a ewer that used to hold perfume in ancient times. And the other definition, which is the much more common definition that we know today, is a small piece of cookware or a container for holding food. Now, when we look at the Appleton's Casualette, they are actually pierced, so they cannot hold liquid, they cannot hold food, they cannot hold wine. They are purely decorative. They are meant to be a part of this assemblage as just a gorgeous, luxurious item. When we look at the figure of Sarah Bernhardt, we can see that she is dressed in somewhat antiquated clothing. She has her arm up by her chest. She's sort of lounging one arm on a pillar. And one of the things I think is the most charming about this piece is look at her left foot. It is actually somewhat off the clock base. So the artist sought to bring her out into the space of the viewer. She is not static and confined only to this small portion of the clock. Additionally, I want to talk a little bit about Sarah Bernhardt herself. She was the most famous actress of her time. Everyone knew her no matter what country you lived in. She was an international star. Even though she was French, she toured all over the world, including America, made a big splash here in the United States as well. So she really was a legendary artist, and one of the nicknames for her was the Divine Sarah. Now, she's shown in this antiquated clothing because she is in the role that she is most well known for, that she's most famous for, and that was her portrayal of Lady Macbeth from the Shakespeare play Macbeth. There is a slight problem with her garment, however. It's really a mashup of eras. When you look at the general shape, it's somewhat similar to 1300s ladies' gowns, yet it has a very squared neckline that is more like something you would see in the 1600s. And then she's got a sort of a ruff and things that come even later than that. So this clothing is not at all accurate. It is really sort of a mashup of different eras made to look antiquated so she could fulfill that role as Lady Macbeth. So this item is meant to evoke high status, luxury, wealth, and everything that made the Industrial Revolution such an extraordinary time. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to sharing more Art Minutes with you soon.